Number one, the first stage, no doubt, is a space of a novice or the apprentice, the beginning stage, the beginner's stage. We all begin from somewhere, okay? And because we all begin from somewhere, we don't get into fields of skill in any aspects, whether business or studies or education or ministry. We don't all begin from, appointment. No, we all have our processes. Read all the patriarchs from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Jesus Christ, Paul the Apostle, John read all the patriarchs, read all the ministers, men and women of God in scriptures, the judges, Ruth, Naomi. Read all of them. You'll see that there is a working process. But the uniqueness of the New Testament dispensation is in the redemption of time. It's only in the New Testament that we see redeem the time, okay? Because when you become born again, you are elevated to certain graces. You are elevated to a new life. And that life is beyond the third dimensional world. It begins actually from the fourth dimension, which is time. You understand the timing of the Spirit outside the human timing. The human series of yesterday, today, and forever. Because in that series, God is the same. But God pulls you out and helps you understand the time dimension. And in the time dimension, you understand that the essence of whatever is unveiled, apocalypsis, is for understanding to the space of revelation, to find purpose, to manifest. And the difference between the beginning of unveiling and the end of our manifestation, he says that time is regarded only under how a man performs in the realm of wisdom. Okay? Many things can be redeemed if you know. That's why Jesus says, list at any time they should be converted. Any time. So he's not saying that that time is passive for our conversion. He's saying that there's an application of the believer to know how to arrest the timing of the Spirit, because the redemption of time is really the art of importing heavenly, godly, eternal timing and infusing it in the earthly timing. And when you do, eternal manifestations take place. And as eternal manifestations take place, hence the redemption of time. So we all begin from somewhere. But from novice to mastery, it's really up to you. Some people have gotten ideas, oh, you need 10,000 hours to do something, to become a master. Some you need to repeat the cycle 3 or 4 times of this to do that. You need, these hours to do that. But that is all really based on hypothetical opinions, based on what they've seen certain individuals act as or respond, to this order. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the truth and that one shot fits all. Because I'll tell you something, human beings have never been equal and will never be equal. The patterns, the principles, the purposes of God, even in history, have showed us that certain men have gotten certain things quicker than others. Okay? Certain men have done more in small periods of time than others. So, not one shot fits all. But he says the race is not to the swift, the battle is strong, neither bread the men of skill. But he says, but time and chance happeneth to them all. No matter how faster you run, or how strong you fight, or how much wisdom you are, that does not necessitate that you'll have bread, or that with the understanding will come the riches, nor yet favor because you carry skill. But he says, but time and chance happens to them all. Yet we need the skill, we need the riches, we need the wisdom, we need the speed, and we need the strength. God is not saying that these variables are not important. He's saying they are important. But how we got there is not how the world thinks to get there. There is another way the Christian has, and we have shortcuts in the Spirit. And these are the things that I intend to share with you. That is the essence of the redemption of time. So we begin as a novice from your starting spaces. You know too little or nothing about a thing to perform. You are not in the acceptable. You are in the phase of instructable. In fact, the earliest stage of the novice is overwhelmingly of instruction. They seek instruction constantly. And the instruction that is patient with this particular person. But it has to begin with the person finally understanding that they need the instruction. Because it's one thing to know that you don't know, but it's another not to even know that you know. You don't know, sorry. It's one thing to know that you don't know. It's another not to even know that you don't know. Because it's the beginning of pride, and I'll share a bit more later. So some, yes, have begun, but even the way they receive instruction, they seem like they know, yet they don't really know. It takes great grace for God to help you to know exactly what you know and what you really don't know. Because sometimes the emphasis on what you claim to know but you don't, sometimes always holds you in the balance. I wish I had another day for School of Ministry. I would teach about the weights of the Spirit. A hand had to come on a wall to tell the man, you've been weighed and found wanting. Okay? And there are many people to whom hands are written because they're truly weighed in the weight they must be. But they do not even know that they're weighed and found wanting. And so to the people you minister to as a minister, even though you seek to qualify yourself in what you think you know, in their hearts you are wanting. And there is nothing as frustrating as a minister who later discovers that he's wanting but cannot find the spaces of filling those voids. That's why we become insecure and seek the fulfillment and justifications of things that are outside the true vindications of the Spirit. Some people think that you're as anointed as you drive, you're as anointed as you dress, you're as anointed as you sleep. Those are all insecure because something led you there. Why are you seeking security from things that are physical? Our definitions come from things that are supernatural. So the constant instruction of a man, the novice, by practice and exercise and yielding self and investing of time and resources, as you continue into that, you enter the second level, which is competence. When you become competent, it means that you are approved to perform certain things, to do certain things, to carry out certain duties. There's a confidence that is placed on your spirit because you've received all the training and coaching that is necessary. And your heart is always seeking out to know more on how you can work these things better, but you are at least there. And that is one of the most deceived stages in all the stages to mastery. Because some people only want to get to the level where they can know how to drive a car, and that's it. Where they can know how to preach, and that's it. Where they can know how to lead worship, and that's it. Where they can know how to evangelize and know the ABCs of that, and that's it. Where they can know, how to execute a deal, or how to present a project, or how to, set up a system, and just the knowing, because there is some, and in the stages of competences, sometimes many things become monotonous, and they are repetitive. And because they're repetitive, sometimes it's a boring mind when newer challenges are not coming. And some people seem, in that stage, some seem to be satisfied and they rest. It takes greatness and vision to propel a man beyond competence. But some people, they are only as good as competent. And they never go further than that because it's just enough. They're satisfied with what they see. And sometimes the problem is that they compare themselves with lower graces. But if a man has a vision, he's seen something greater, he will push himself against all odds, again by exercise, again by giving to self, investing time, being in the spaces they must be, doing most of the stuff, some of which I've been preaching through the week. And before you know that, they push into the spaces of experienced. Experienced people are satisfying people. And because they're experienced, they're just beyond competent. They're beyond I can do it. Now they get into the space where they can be they are experienced. They know how to deal with unique scenario, unique situations, unique circumstances. There's something special starts to form out of them, and they know how to circumnavigate even some of the hardest challenges that their usual competence cannot work out. And depending on the situations, they are informed, they are invested, because they did not just stay on the competent level. They are now starting to understand the system and the way of doing things. They are understanding the interpretation of things better, not just simply the application of things. And from there, as they continue to exercise themselves in the same and carry the interest and passion for a thing, then we enter the mastery. We enter the space of the expert. And what is the uniqueness about the expert? The master, or the person that has entered the level of mastery, one, is a person who is able to teach a man to the experience. As a master can teach a novice to the experience. Two, a master can invent other ways or better ways to do a thing. He's a pathfinder, he's a pace setter. That's a master. As they teach, they can set paths, they can set trends, they can invent newer wheels and newer ways of doing stuff. Ministry has been predictable for many years, but there comes a time where God brings men and women in the ministries and they set new things, they bring new stuff. You start to see stuff you've never seen before. That is mastery. The master knows how to study those that he teaches. He's not just a teacher, but he can study those that he imparts into, to know how to deal with them better. Mastery creates the distinction. Mastery creates the uniqueness. If you're not in the realm of mastery, you're not distinctive. And if you're not distinctive, you are in the collectibles, you are in the collection, you are in the group of things, you are in the classified of the things. But there are things that must separate you from just the predictable. Okay? Mastery takes you out of predictability. When you enter the realm of mastery, you will never be predicted. You're open and ceaseless, you're endless, you're in the overflow. When you look at the faith as ministers, God has not just called us into the perfection or the conditioning of our ministries, but he has called us to the overflow. Paul says that I've run my race, finished my course, and now I'm ready to be poured out as an offering. Okay? He became a well, he became a spring, he became a source, not a resource. His departure was at hand. He had fought the good fight. He had kept the faith. Mastery imparts even without deliberation, because you become a pattern of good works. Hallelujah. Glory to God.